Absolute power corrupts absolutely. A statement proposed by John Emmerich Edward Dahlberg, and more than an apt statement in reference to these two prophets turned monsters.
Kazuya Mishima, the cold-blooded devil from Tekken.
Albert Wesker, the villainous bioterrorist of Resident Evil.
I'm Aqua, the mouse with the vision.
And I'm Ecto, the ghost with the free time.
Together we've analyzed these combatants' powers, skills, and feats to find out who would win a fight in the realm of gods. Heihachi Mishima, the king of Iron Fist. 1,000 words could be said of this man. He's a powerful warrior, an even more powerful business owner. And if you're particularly close to him,
an absolute bastard. Heihachi had everything a man could want. A beautiful wife, a young and growing son, and a family fortune he was said to inherit.
But because he was a greedy asshole who wanted all of the power of the Mishima Zaibatsu to himself, he staged a coup against his father and eventually ended up killing him in cold blood to take the reins for himself, trapping Jinpachi under a mountain to starve to death.
If that wasn't bad enough, his wife, Kazumi, had just awoken a dormant demonic power passed down by her clan and tried to kill him. So he put her in the grave too.
Naturally, distraught at the loss of his mother and grandfather, Heihachi's then 5-year-old son, Kazuya, steeled himself and confronted his dad, ready to avenge his family and murder his father.
But being, 5 years old, he caught the nastiest 10-string of his life and was tossed off a cliff, hopefully to put an end to that demonic bloodline for good. But you've seen the title of the video, so you know that didn't fucking happen.
As Kazuya fell to the stony depths of that cliff, his latent genetic gift activated and invited a mysterious devil into his body, granting him not only the power to survive the fall, but to seek revenge against the man who took everything from him.
Kazuya climbed back up the cliff and was raised by Heihachi into young adulthood alongside his new adoptive brother, Lee, being trained in the Mishima-style fighting karate and participating in tournaments and smaller-scale fights around the world. He gained mastery over his own chi for energy-enhanced attacks, mainly electrical punches.
Kazuya's Mishima-style variation most closely resembles Shotokan karate, using counters, hip turns, and closed fist attacks, most notably the Wind God Fist, the enhanced Electric Wind God Fist, and the Thunder God Fist for uppercutting foes. And the signature Mishima-style 10-hit combo keeps its victim trapped with a series of rapid punches and blinding kicks that'll be sure to leave them begging for a breather.
The spine-annihilating Hell Sweep knocks enemies flat on their asses, the Rising Sun knocks them hard onto their skull, and the Demon Scissor is a nasty overhead that's sure to give them a concussion. At
the ripe age of 26, Kazuya entered the newly formed Tekken tournament, headed by none other than Heihachi, fighting his way to the top through a Russian android, a super samurai, and even a Mexican in a jaguar mask who only communicated by roaring. Yeah. He finally faced off again with his dear old dad.
Deciding to return the favor, Kazuya took a stroll through memory lane with his father and threw that old piece of shit off the same cliff he'd been sent off of. He even rose to take power as the new head of the Mishima Zaibatsu. But instead of inheriting the loving and non-violent nature of his mother or grandfather and helping fix what Heihachi had turned the Zaibatsu into, Kazuya plunged it even further into darkness.
Kidnapping, assassination, smuggling endangered animals, pirating indie games. You name it, and he probably did it. Turns out, the power of the devil gene feeds directly on negative emotions, like ambition and vengefulness, plunging Kazuya down the same debaucherous path his father led. Set on ruling the world, Kazuya eventually took over all of Hokkaido and planned to make his own independent nation, rejecting his nationality altogether as he saw himself above the labels of any established nation.
To prove that superiority, he held another Tekken tournament where he encountered a strange angelic entity trying to purge the devil from within him, and a mysterious fearless woman named Jun Kazama, who sought to save his soul from corruption. If all that wasn't enough of a headache, the worst news possible broke. Somehow, Heihachi had returned.
Taking a fat L to his father once again and getting unceremoniously dropped into an active volcano, which erupted worth over 160 megatons of TNT, it seemed Kazuya was dead, leaving Jun to raise his newborn son, Jin, who it turns out inherited a piece of that devil. But luckily, your friendly neighborhood shadow organization pulled a Revenge of the Sith and fished him out of the lava, because somehow he survived.
After 20 years of licking his wounds, Kazuya re-emerged to enter the 4th Tekken tournament, where his old bastard of a dad would try to kill both Kazuya and his son to steal their DNA and make an artificial devil gene. But, unfortunately, Kazuya's first meeting with his son went awry when the devil within him tried to steal its other half straight out of Jin's body.
Luckily, Kazuya managed to gain control back and rein in the devil form. And despite Jin defeating him that day, Kazuya gained full control over his devil form, granting a whole slew of new powers. He can fly at hypersonic speeds with his wings, fire eye-beams from his forehead strong enough to make a volcano erupt, and fast enough to be comparable to beams of light, and go toe-to-toe with the raging demon, Akuma, himself. He can even teleport, become invisible, and phase through solid matter.
He can appear in people's dreams as a vision, create pocket dimensions straight out of Jujutsu Kaisen, and should be the same as Jin, who can use telekinesis to throw or detonate things, freeze people solid, steal souls, and create energy barriers. It also apparently prevents baldness.
G Corp, the aforementioned shadow organization, launched an attack on the old Mishima estate, causing the corpse of Kazuya's granddad to rise back up, possessed by a demon, and initiate a 5th Tekken tournament. Kazuya, leaving the heavy lifting to the other Mishima men, went and murdered the CEO of G Corp, taking over as the new head of the organization, and rebuilding himself as a military and political power, while Jin ascended to the head of the Mishima Zaibatsu.
Turns out, history repeats itself. Jin launched World War III as his first order of business, declaring war against the literal entire world to get rid of the Devil Gene. And Kazuya found himself one of the few men powerful enough to oppose him, becoming renowned as a hero while he did so. But after meeting his Swedish Naruto-fighting half-brother and Jin's disappearance following a confrontation with an ancient demon named Azazel who was strong enough to ignite the entire atmosphere, yikes, Kazuya found himself at odds once more with Heihachi, who had resumed the head position of the Mishima Zaibatsu.
A media war broke out until the two decided to meet up like men, settling their score once and for all in the depths of a volcano. Although Heihachi managed to stir Kazuya's reputation by revealing his demonic powers, Kazuya got the last laugh, as he tossed his father into the boiling lava pits below as he made evident his intention to continue his quest for world domination.
6 months, Venom reference later, Kazuya went live to the world after beating his son like any good Mishima does and declared to the world he was hosting yet another Tekken tournament, this time with the fate of the winner's country decided by victory. And just to show off, he fired a beam into outer space to destroy hundreds of satellites, creating a shockwave worth 957.8 teratons of TNT.
At the conclusion of a worldwide tournament, Kazuya revealed his plans to revive the ancient demon Azazel and absorb its power for himself, achieving his most powerful form, True Devil Form Kazuya. In this form, he can create crystalline constructs, see visions of vast distances, and becomes massively more stronger than before.
Kazuya faced off against the likes of the UN, his various estranged siblings, and most notable among them that Swedish thorn in his side, Lars, in an attempt to reach and eliminate Jin from the world. But as his final blow is about to end Lars, who else but Jin shows up to stop him? After 50 years of feuding, this was the final battle, the culmination of the turmoil in the Mishima bloodline.
The two tapped into their devil genes and fought a battle unlike any the world of Tekken had ever seen, until Jin awakened a more angelic form, an echo of the same angel who'd once tried to free Kazuya's soul when he met Jin's mother all those years ago. With a final act of compassion, Jin erased the devil form from himself and his father.
After 50 years of fighting, 50 years of abuse and torment, 50 years of corruption by power and ambition, Kazuya Mishima's soul was finally freed, and the woman he loved stood by his side once more.
Deep in the Arklay Mountains, on the outskirts of Raccoon City, STARS operatives were sent to investigate numerous sudden and bizarre murders.
The team, otherwise known as the Special Tactics and Rescue Service, was comprised of ex-military personnel, consisting of Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, Barry Burton, and their leader, Albert Wesker.
STARS insights led them to the Spencer Mansion, home of Oswell E. Spencer. The mansion was crawling with mutated spiders, snakes, sharks somehow, and most notably, zombies.
STARS came packing, though, with Wesker specifically wielding his custom Samurai Edge-modeled handgun, with a laser-sighted add-on that allows for pinpoint accuracy.
Rifles, rockets, grenades, the whole shebang. Name it, and Wesker's probably a master of it. He had the perfect artillery to take out these residents of evil.
The STARS team delved deeper into the mansion, discovering the horrible experiments the Umbrella Corporation was up to, most notably abducting Lisa Trevor and her mother and injecting them with the progenitor virus, driving them both insane, with Lisa being permanently disfigured and her mother killed.
As STARS ventured further, they solved many a puzzle, faced monstrous creatures. And yeah, they fought a shark. Pretty fucking metal. But alas, there was a traitor among them, somehow keeping tabs and sabotaging every chance they had, who just so happened to be their very own leader. Let's take time back to the 1960s.
Albert Wesker was born with supernaturally superior genes to that of the typical human, being taken away by Spencer for Project W, presumably standing for Wumbo.
Under Spencer's care, Albert was raised with many other gifted kids, all of whom were given the same surname, Wesker. These prodigies were given nothing but time and energy to find an education, going into many different fields of study. But only the best were chosen to be infected with the progenitor virus, an RNA-based disease believed to be able to bring humanity to the next vital step of evolution.
Wesker joined forces with Spencer, believing he could be the forebearer of the next iteration of humankind, working with him under his company's umbrella to create tyrants, basically big-ass super zombies. It's here where he met William Birkin, a brilliant virologist who would become a close associate of Albert, with the two further developing tyrants and BOWs together.
Wesker was only a part of the STARS team to leak information to Umbrella, keeping tabs on the police force and leading them to the Spencer mansion in hopes of getting them all killed. To that end, he took the opportunity to wake a tyrant sleeping within his boss's home. Unfortunately for Albert, he was impaled and tossed aside, as these tyrants are, in all practicality, mindless killing machines. Now thought dead, Wesker was left to rot as the survivors left the Spencer mansion to collapse. Having witnessed unprecedented horrors that day, Chris and Jill dedicated themselves to taking down Umbrella once and for all. The tragedies that Spencer, Wesker, and their company started couldn't be allowed to continue. Things were made even more personal when Chris's own sister, Claire, was caught in the crossfire. Chris found himself at Rockfort Island, an island taken over by Umbrella, as well as coming face to face with an old friend.
No one truly stays dead in a world like this. The day Wesker was believed to be long gone, he had preempted his betrayal by injecting himself with the prototype virus, a variation of the T-virus designed by himself and Birkin. This sample healed all of his wounds and enhanced his physical prowess just enough to escape the mansion, but not before killing Lisa Trevor in the midst of his exit, cementing his transformation from human to something more.
To say the virus enhanced his physicality is an understatement. Wesker can rip apart steel gates with one hand, kick heads into tomato sauce, and lift military-grade missiles. Not only that, but the virus gave him actual superpowers. His eyes can shoot out a discharge of electricity to stun nearby enemies, he could psychically influence zombies to do his bidding, and even if his foes manage to inflict serious damage on him, the progenitor virus can reattach severed limbs, and even heal crushed brain matter. And if such insane regeneration isn't enough, Wesker can always resort to the Resident Evil staple, smoking that herb pack. Green herbs are a must for any Resident Evil character. These little shits are even in Fortnite. Not Wesker, though.
Now wielding the ability to spread his plans at a much faster rate, Wesker slipped once more into the shadows and joined a new conglomerate named Tricell, beginning a complicated web of corporate espionage and bioterrorism. These stratagems finally came to a head when he discovered Ouroboros, a virus that turns the host cells into black biomatter, which over time will consume and transfigure them into a mindless beast. The panacea for eliminating human society as we know it. Wesker had his dreams in the palm of his hands.
If it wasn't for Chris motherfucking boulder-punching Redfield, who discovered these insidious machinations on a mission to West Africa. Even with all his past transgressions in mind, Wesker had somehow strengthened his vendetta against Chris even further, as prior to the events of Resident Evil 5, he kidnapped Jill and brainwashed her into fighting alongside him, as well as giving a nice little hug to his papa Oswell.
Hunting down his former comrade Chris and his partner Sheba tracked Wesker to his oil tanker, discovering that he was planning to launch missiles imbued with Ouroboros around the world. In one fell swoop, Wesker would force humanity over the evolutionary cliff he had always been working towards.
A fight for the fate of the world would begin, with Wesker's speed and superior stamina forcing Chris on the back foot. He's especially proficient in the former category, as Wesker's movements are so precise and quick, he can outpace bullets from a wide variety of weapons.
Unless it's teleportation.
No. No bitch-ass teleportation.
Well, look, here he is moving fast, and here's him teleporting. It's different.
That's from 2 different games, you bitch.
Yeah, well, in MVC3, it's literally teleporting. It says right there.
Okay, what spirits from Smash are we giving Kazuya then?
You're just jealous he didn't drink the fucked up evil teleporting zombie juice.
Well, teleporting or not, Wesker is pretty fucking fast. As said before, he has insane bullet timing feats, but he can also dodge electric charges, which would ultimately come out to around Mach 82. That's hypersonic speeds. Not bad, but that alone wouldn't be enough, as he was eventually cornered and on the brink of extinction. With his back against the wall, Wesker injected himself with vast amounts of Ouroboros, specifically an amount that was meant to incite complete global extinction.
And Wesker took all of it for himself, causing him to mutate into a truly monstrous form. With his body now bursting at the seams with black goopy tendrils, he can reach out for devastating attacks, like grabbing a helicopter out of the air. Basically, he's Venom. Just by touching Wesker's strain of Ouroboros, your life force will slowly be drained if you don't rid yourself of the infection. But for as deadly as that would have been if turned on the human race, the drawback also applies to Wesker. Ouroboros was utterly ravaging his body and addling his brilliant mind. In the end, Chris and Shiva capitalized on this, with the two blasting Wesker with rockets and blowing his remains to bits. And just for good measure, those bits were melted in a volcano, burning away Albert's dreams of a mutated future.
Even in death, Wesker became a name synonymous with survival horror, a not-so-distant nightmare, as his influence upon the world would not be forgotten. He proved himself to be far above the humans he sought to control. He was a god, and we were all his playthings. The devils are assembled, and only one can walk away from this bout.
Let's give it a go, shall we?
Kazuya Mishima, your corporation has assets that are more valuable to me. They will be mine to take. 7 minutes is all I will need.
Dinner.
Too slow. Unfortunately, despite your best efforts, it's too late for you. You will not live to see the dawn. If you're the devil, then I am a god. What?
I want enough. Ore wa subete o shihai suru.
Once again, Wesker's been incinerated. But why? Well, it's a little more complicated than you'd think. First, let's analyze these two levels of skill.
Wesker is an impressive combatant, being able to compete with trained STARS members like Chris and Jill, who are extremely well versed in hand-to-hand combat alongside their assortment of weapons, with Chris specifically being described as having the best marksmanship of the STARS Alpha team. Against most others, Wesker would be an incredibly skilled foe, But Kazuya is a different beast.
Yeah, that's no surprise. Kazuya's fought in countless tournaments full of people just as skilled as Chris is, if not more so. Plus, he's been training since he was a child, and overall has a lot more media appearances. Wesker may fight trained individuals when he needs to, but Kazuya was literally born to fight, which means he takes skill.
But that wouldn't matter if we factor in intelligence, right? Wesker's way smarter than Kazuya, creating viruses and mutations within people that are beyond comprehension, on top of being described as a genius from a young age. Kazuya may be a competent leader, but in comparison, Wesker is more impressive. With that edge in his corner, couldn't Wesker pull off an Ouroboros infection with the right strategy?
Well, that's where it becomes tricky. Let's look at this from where both of these characters draw their unique strengths. The Devil Gene versus Ouroboros. At first glance, you'd think Ouroboros would be a game ender. Being able to completely destroy the human body from the inside out would make it a huge threat to Kazuya. Plus, Wesker's regeneration would prevent Kazuya from landing any lasting damage.
Which then brings us to the next logical question. Can Kazuya permanently kill Wesker in spite of his regeneration? Well, to answer that, let's look at their overall stats to paint the best picture. At first, speed doesn't actually seem too uneven. While Kazuya has better overall high and low ends thanks to Tekken's numerous laser dodging feats as opposed to the general bullet timing seen in Resident Evil, Wesker could dodge electric charges and arguably teleport. Meaning no matter how fast Kazuya was, you could argue Wesker had some workarounds. At least you could say that for travel speed. But this would eventually equalize when Kazuya let the devil out. Even then, Kazuya would have higher reaction speeds no matter what, so while it's closer than you'd think, Kazuya is going to be delivering hits at a much more frequent rate, as well as being too quick for Wesker to reliably be able to infect him.
And as for strength, Kazuya is a massive global threat, with his big fucking laser coming out to 957.8 teratons of TNT.
A massive step up from Wesker's highest end. But that's not all, as Devil Jin could nuke the entire planet, and Kazuya is certainly stronger than him.
With these crucial advantages and stats, this ultimately led the Devil Gene to be the superior source of power. In this battle of supernaturally strong businessmen, Wesker may have had the intelligence and powers to best plenty of other characters, but Kazuya's superior strength, iron defenses, and raw skill put Umbrella's star employee down for good.
The winner is Kazuya Mishima.